Welcome to another quiet descent into the space between worlds. Tonight's story begins beneath a rusty sky, where crystal steps spiral downward, and every reflection carries a secret waiting to be met. It moves through dust that glows like embers, through air shaped by your breath, toward a mirror that remembers more than it shows. Here light and shadow trade places. Time folds like silk, and the self you meet may not be the self you know. Let the red light guide you. Let the stillness hold you. And if these quiet wanderings bring you comfort, you might consider subscribing or telling us where and when you're listening from. Now, close your eyes and begin your own descent through the rusted glass. I wake to the sound of my own breathing. The dome above me curves like a mother's embrace. Glass panels catch the rust-red light of Mars below. Each breath I take fogs the air before me. Each breath dissolves into silence. My feet are bare against the metal floor. The floor is warm. It pulses with the slow heartbeat of the station's core. I feel it through my skin, through my bones, through the marrow that holds me upright in this suspended world. I am chosen. The thought comes to me like water through silk. I am chosen. The words taste of copper and starlight on my tongue. I roll them in my mouth. I let them settle into the hollow spaces behind my ribs. My robe falls around me in waves of deep blue fabric. It whispers against my legs as I move. The sound is like rain on glass, like breath through reeds, like the soft collapse of sand dunes under wind. I move toward the center of the dome. The glass stair spirals downward. Each step is cut from a single piece of crystal. The edges catch light and throw it back in fragments. Red light, gold light, the pale amber glow of distant suns. My reflection moves with me in 1,000 broken pieces. I am multiplied. I am scattered. I am gathered again in the curve of each step. My face appears and disappears. My hands float like white birds in the glass. My eyes look back at me from every surface. I am beautiful in this fractured light. The thought comes without pride, without shame. It simply is, like the weight of my hair against my back, like the way my pulse beats soft and steady in my throat, like the taste of recycled air on my lips. I begin my descent. The first step rings under my foot. The sound travels up through my leg, through my hip, through the cage of my ribs. It settles in my chest like a struck bell. The second step sings lower. The third step whispers. By the fourth step, I am moving in rhythm with my own heartbeat. Step and pulse. Step and pulse. The sound builds around me like layers of silk being wound around a frame. Mars turns below us. Through the transparent floor of the stairwell, I watch the planet roll in its ancient dance. Red dust swirls across continents of stone. Canyons split the surface like wounds that have healed into beauty. The polar caps gleam white against the rust. I have never walked on solid ground. I was born in the void between worlds, raised in chambers that spin to create the illusion of weight. fed on proteins grown in tanks and water distilled from ice, harvested from the rings of distant giants. But I dream of soil under my feet. I dream of wind that carries the scent of growing things, of rain that falls from clouds instead of recycling systems, of seasons that change because a world tilts toward or away from its star. The dreams taste like longing. They pool in my mouth like honey. They slide down my throat and settle warm in my belly. They make me ache in places I cannot name. I continue my descent. The stair spirals deeper into the heart of the dome. The walls around me curve inward. The space grows smaller, more intimate, like being held in cupped hands. The air here is different. It moves differently. It tastes differently. There is something old about it, something that has been waiting, something that has been breathing these same molecules for years, uncounted. Dust motes drift through the light. Each speck catches the red glow from Mars and holds it. They float like tiny stars, like fragments of dreams made visible, like the physical manifestation of memory itself. I reach out to touch one. It dances away from my finger. It swirls in the disturbance I create simply by existing in this space. It joins the slow ballet of countless others, all moving in patterns too complex for my mind to follow. But my body understands. My body sways with the invisible currents. My breath creates eddies in the floating dust. My heartbeat sends waves through the air that push and pull the drifting specks into new configurations. I am part of the dance now. I am creating the very atmosphere I move through. My presence changes everything around me. My absence would leave a hole shaped exactly like my body, my breath, my quiet thoughts. The realization settles into me like warm oil soaking into cloth. I matter, not because I am chosen, not because I am beautiful, not because my role in the great machine of this station gives me purpose. I matter because I am here, because my lungs pull oxygen from the air and return carbon dioxide, because my feet press against the crystal steps and send vibrations through the structure, because my eyes receive the light and my brain interprets it into meaning. I am a small god in this small space. The thought makes me laugh. The sound bubbles up from somewhere deep in my chest. It spills out of my mouth like water from a fountain. It echoes off the curved walls and comes back to me changed, deeper, richer, like a harmony singing with itself. I like the sound of my own laughter in this place. It belongs here. It fits into the spaces between the floating dust and the red light. It becomes part of the architecture of this moment. I laugh again, just to hear it. The sound travels down the stairwell ahead of me. It announces my coming to whatever waits at the bottom of this crystal spiral. It prepares the space for my arrival. I am no longer alone. My laughter has become a companion. It walks with me, step by step, ring by ring. It cushions my footfalls and softens the edges of my breathing. The walls grow closer. I can almost touch them now with my outstretched arms. The crystal surface is flawless, smooth as still water, clear as the space between stars. My reflection walks beside me in the walls. She matches my pace. She breathes when I breathe. She smiles when I smile. But there is something different about her, something that lives behind her eyes that I do not recognize. She knows something I do not know. The thought comes without fear, without curiosity. It simply settles into my awareness like sediment settling to the bottom of a still pond. She has been waiting for me, my reflection, my other self, the part of me that exists in glass and light and the spaces between heartbeats. We descend together. Two women in blue robes, two sets of bare feet touching crystal steps, two voices breathing in the same rhythm, two hearts beating against the same silence. The light around us deepens. The red glow from Mars grows richer, more saturated. It paints everything in shades of rust and copper and dried blood. It makes my skin look like bronze. It makes my robe look like deep water under a sunset sky. I am transformed by this light. I am made beautiful by it, made mysterious, made significant in ways I cannot articulate, but can feel in my bones. The dust motes glow like embers. They drift past my face like falling stars, like the shed tears of ancient gods, like wishes made visible and set loose to find their own way through the world. I open my mouth and let one touch my tongue. It dissolves immediately. It tastes of metal and time and the dreams of machines. It becomes part of me, part of my saliva, part of my blood, part of the thoughts forming in my brain as I continue my descent. I am consuming this place. This place is consuming me. We are becoming each other, cell by cell, breath by breath, step by careful step, down this spiral of crystal and light. The bottom of the stair appears below me. It opens into a circular chamber carved from the same seamless crystal as the steps. The floor curves up to meet the walls in a perfect bowl. The ceiling arches overhead like the inside of an egg. A mirror waits in the center. It stands upright on a base of polished metal. The surface is perfectly smooth, perfectly reflective. It shows me nothing but darkness until I step into its range. Then it shows me everything. My face appears in the glass like a ghost materializing from shadow. My eyes look back at me with an expression I have never seen before. Calm, accepting, ready for what? The question forms in my mind, but does not demand an answer. It hovers at the edge of my thoughts like a moth drawn to flame, present but not insistent. I take another step. My full reflection emerges, my body wrapped in blue fabric, my hair falling in dark waves over my shoulders, my hands hanging loose at my sides, my feet planted firmly on the crystal floor. I look like a woman who has just woken up from a long dream, or a woman about to fall into one. The distinction blurs as I watch myself in the mirror. Am I the dreamer or the dreamed? Am I the observer or the observed? Both, neither. The answer comes from somewhere beyond language, somewhere beyond the need for answers at all. I am here. I am present in this moment, in this chamber of crystal and light, in this body that breathes and pulses and creates small disturbances in the dust-filled air. That is enough. More than enough. It is everything. The mirror reflects my understanding back to me. It shows me a woman who has stopped asking why. A woman who has learned to simply be. I smile at my reflection. She smiles back. We breathe together. We exist together. We fill this small space with our shared presence and our mutual recognition. The red light from Mars bathes us both. We glow in that light. We become part of it. We transform it by receiving it and reflecting it back into the crystal chamber that holds us. I am exactly where I am supposed to be. The knowing settles into me like water soaking into earth. It reaches every part of me, every cell, every thought, every breath. I belong here, in this moment, in this space, in this body that carries me through the world like a faithful horse carries its rider. I close my eyes. My reflection closes hers. We rest together in the darkness behind our eyelids. We listen to the sound of our shared breathing. We feel the pulse of our shared heart. The dust continues to drift around us. The light continues to glow. Mars continues its ancient rotation far below. And I continue to exist, simply, completely, without question or doubt or the need for anything beyond this perfect suspended moment. I open my eyes. My reflection opens hers. We look at each other across the membrane of silvered glass. We see ourselves seeing ourselves. We exist in the infinite regression of mirror facing mirror. I raise my hand. She raises hers. Our palms meet against the surface of the glass. Warm skin against cool surface. Beliving and reflected touching through the thinnest possible barrier. For a moment, there is no barrier. For a moment, we are one woman reaching toward herself, across no distance at all. For a moment, the mirror disappears and there is only connection. Then the glass reasserts itself. My hand presses against resistance. My reflection's hand presses back. We are separate again, distinct. Two versions of the same existence, exploring the space between self and self. I let my hand fall to my side. She mirrors the movement perfectly. We stand facing each other in comfortable silence. Two women in a chamber of crystal. Two versions of the same story being told simultaneously. The light around us begins to dim. Not the red glow from Mars that continues steady and eternal, but the other lights. The subtle illumination built into the walls and floor and ceiling of this chamber. They fade gradually, gently, like sunset approaching in slow motion. I am not afraid of the growing darkness. It feels natural, appropriate, like the day settling into night, like consciousness settling toward sleep. My reflection fades with the light. She becomes translucent, ghostly, more suggestion than substance. But she does not disappear entirely. She remains present, available, waiting for the light to return and make her solid once more. I settle onto the crystal floor. The surface is warm against my body. It holds the heat of my presence and reflects it back to me. I curl my legs under my robe. I rest my hands in my lap. The chamber wraps around me like a cocoon. The curved walls embrace me. The arched ceiling shelters me. The circular floor supports me completely. I am held, supported, protected, surrounded by beauty and light and the quiet presence of my own reflection, waiting in the glass. My breathing slows. My heartbeat settles into the deep rhythm of rest. My thoughts begin to loosen their grip on meaning and drift toward the wordless space that lives between waking and sleep. The dust motes continue their slow dance around me. They glow softly in the Mars light. They create patterns that shift and change too slowly for my eyes to follow. They whisper stories in a language older than words. I listen without understanding. I receive their communication without needing to translate it into human meaning. I let it wash over me like music, like poetry recited in a language I once knew but have forgotten. My body begins to relax. My muscles release their constant tension. My shoulders drop. My jaw unclenches. My spine curves into its natural rhythm. I am settling, like dust settling after a disturbance, like water finding its level after being stirred, like consciousness finding its natural state after the effort of being awake. The mirror reflects my gradual surrender. Even in the dim light, I can see the ghost of my reflection settling with me, relaxing with me, breathing with me as we both slide toward the edge of sleep. We are partners in this descent, companions in this letting go, two aspects of the same being, learning to rest in the same moment. My eyelids grow heavy. They flutter like curtains in a gentle breeze. They close and open and close. Again, each closure lasting a little longer than the last. The chamber grows quieter. Even the sound of my breathing seems muffled, distant, as if it is coming from someone else in another room. I let myself sink deeper into the warm embrace of the crystal floor. My body molds itself to the surface. I become part of the architecture of this place. I join the eternal stillness that lives at the heart of all constructed things. The red light from Mars continues to glow. It paints the inside of my eyelids with warm colors, with dreams of rust and copper and ancient stones worn smooth by wind. I drift toward sleep, carried by that light, carried by the gentle motion of dust through air, carried by the rhythm of my own pulse and the whispered promises of my reflection in the glass. Tomorrow there will be another chapter, another descent, another discovery, another moment of perfect presence in this space between worlds. But now there is only rest, only the soft collapse of consciousness into the welcoming darkness behind my eyes. Only the final breath that releases me from the day and delivers me into the country of sleep. I curl into myself. The light flickers above me. I groan, I sleep.
I wake to the taste of metal on my tongue. The air here is different from yesterday. Thicker, more alive with possibility. It moves through my lungs like liquid mercury. It settles into my blood like dissolved starlight. My robe clings to my skin. The blue fabric has absorbed the moisture of my dreams. It wraps around me like a second skin, like the surface tension of deep water, like the boundary between one world and another. I rise from the crystal floor. The surface releases me reluctantly. I feel its warmth lingering against my back. against my thighs, against the palms of my hands, where they pressed into its perfect smoothness through the night. My reflection waits in the mirror. She has been watching me sleep. I can see it in her eyes. The patient attention. The gentle vigilance. The way she seems more rested than I feel, as if she has been drawing energy from my dreams. Good morning! I mouth the words without sound. She mouths them back. We greet each other across the silver membrane that separates us. We acknowledge the new day with silent ceremony. The red light from Mars has shifted. The planet has turned in its sleep. New continents face our window now. Different patterns of stone and dust and the pale tracery of ancient riverbeds. The light comes from a different angle. It creates new shadows in the crystal chamber. Everything is familiar. Everything is changed. This is the nature of time in this suspended place. Each moment builds on the last. Each day carries forward the weight of yesterday, while creating space for something entirely new. I stretch my arms above my head. My spine uncurls vertebra by vertebra. My ribs expand to make room for deeper breathing. My muscles remember their purpose after the long rest. The robe slides against my skin. The sensation sends small shivers through my body. Pleasant, electrical. Currents that remind me I am alive. That I am present. That I inhabit this flesh and bone with complete authority.
I am awake, fully awake, not the drowsy half-consciousness of yesterday's descent, but the bright awareness that comes after true rest, after surrender, after allowing the body to repair itself in the darkness. The dust motes dance more vigorously today. They swirl in complex patterns around the chamber. They catch the shifted Mars light and throw it back in new configurations. They create a living constellation that exists only in this moment. I walk toward the mirror. Each step sends ripples through the floating dust. My passage creates wind currents that disturb and rearrange the delicate patterns. I am a weather system moving through this small world. My reflection walks toward me. We approach each other with measured steps, with the formal grace of dancers who know their choreography perfectly, who have rehearsed this meeting in dreams and waking thoughts. We stop at the same moment. We face each other across the silver surface. Two women in blue robes, two versions of the same existence, 2 points of consciousness recognizing themselves in each other. Today, I notice details I missed yesterday. The way the light catches in the fabric of my robe and creates depth, shadow, and highlight that make the blue appear infinite, like looking into the depths of an ocean. Like falling into the space between stars. The way my hair moves with my breathing, each strand lifts and settles with the rhythm of my lungs. The dark waves create their own weather patterns. They generate tiny air currents that disturb the dust around my face. The way my skin glows in the Mars light, warm, luminous, as if lit from within by some internal source, as if my body is a vessel containing its own small sun. I am beautiful. The recognition comes without vanity, without the need for validation or comparison. It is simply true, like the fact that the walls are crystal, like the fact that Mars is red, like the fact that dust floats in air. My reflection nods. She sees what I see, knows what I know, accepts the truth of our shared beauty with the same calm certainty. We are perfect, not perfect in the sense of flawless, but perfect in the sense of complete, whole, exactly what we are meant to be in this moment. The understanding passes between us without words. We smile at the same time. The expression transforms both our faces, makes us luminous, makes us more than the sum of our physical features. We are more than beautiful. We are alive, conscious, present in this suspended moment between sleep and waking, between dream and reality, between self and reflected self. I raise my hand to the mirror. My reflection raises hers. Our palms meet against the glass with perfect timing. Skin against surface, warmth against coolness. The boundary and the crossing of the boundary happening simultaneously. For a heartbeat, I feel her pulse through the glass, or imagine I do. The distinction becomes meaningless. What matters is the connection, the recognition, the moment of perfect synchronization, put between observer and observed. Then I step back. My hand leaves a faint print on the mirror, a ghost impression of warmth and oil and the cellular memory of touch. My reflection's hand leaves no mark at all. She exists purely in light, in reflection, in the marriage of photons and silver, and the complex optics of perception. She is made of the same stuff as dreams, as memories, as the space between thoughts, but she is no less real for that. She moves through her world with the same authority I move through mine. She breathes the reflected air. She feels the reflected warmth of the crystal floor. She experiences her existence with full consciousness. We are equal to aspects of the same being inhabiting parallel realities. Two voices singing the same song in different keys. I begin to walk around the mirror, slowly, with reverence for the moment and the space and the strange magic of existing in duplicates. I trace a circle around the base of the glass. My reflection walks with me, but her movement is more complex than mine. As I curve around the edge of the mirror, she appears first in profile, then three-quarters view, then facing away from me entirely. I see myself from angles impossible in life. The curve of my shoulder blade under blue fabric. The way my hair falls down my back in dark rivers. The grace of my legs as they carry me through this small pilgrimage. I am seeing myself as others see me, as the universe sees me. From outside my own perspective, from the position of witness rather than inhabitant. The experience is beautiful, disorienting, like suddenly seeing the curvature of the earth from space, like realizing the scale of your own existence in relation to the infinite. I complete the circle, return to my original position, facing the mirror directly. My reflection completes her own journey back to the familiar angle. We are ourselves again, known to ourselves, comfortable in our usual relationship. But something has changed. The brief journey around the mirror has expanded my sense of self. I now contain all those other angles, all those other views. I am larger than I was moments ago. My reflection shows this expansion. She seems more dimensional, more present, as if the act of being seen from multiple perspectives has made her more real, more solid, more capable of independent existence. We have grown, both of us, together, through the simple act of changing our relationship to each other and to the space we share. The dust motes swirl between us. They create a veil of light and motion that makes the air visible, that shows the constant movement of the atmosphere even in this sealed chamber, that proves nothing is truly still. Mars continues its rotation. The red glow moves across the walls in slow waves. It creates new patterns in the floating dust, new colors in the crystal surfaces, new depths in the mirror. My reflection shifts with the light. She becomes more luminous, more saturated. The blue of her robe deepens to the color of midnight oceans. Her skin warms to bronze. Her hair catches highlights like captured fire. I am transformed by the changing light, made mysterious, made beautiful in new ways, made worthy of the attention I give myself in this place of perfect solitude. I sit on the crystal floor facing the mirror. The surface welcomes my weight, warms immediately to match my body temperature, supports me completely as I settle into a comfortable position. My reflection sits with me. We face each other across the silver boundary. Two women in meditation posture, two versions of the same consciousness, preparing for deeper communion with ourselves. I close my eyes. My reflection closes hers. We sit in shared darkness, in the space behind our eyelids, where thoughts begin before they become words, where dreams wait to be born, where the deepest truths rest undisturbed by the need to be understood. My breathing settles into a natural rhythm, deep and slow, the kind of breathing that happens when the body is at perfect rest, when the nervous system has released its constant vigilance, when consciousness floats free from its moorings in the everyday world. I feel my heartbeat in my throat, in my wrists, in the pulse points where blood approaches the surface of my skin. The rhythm is steady, reliable, the drum that keeps time for the dance of my existence. My reflection's heart beats with mine. I know this without seeing, without proof. I feel it as a resonance, a harmonic vibration that travels through the glass and into my bones. We are synchronized at the deepest level. The dust continues to drift around us. I hear it now. The whisper of particles brushing against each other. The soft percussion of microscopic collisions. The quiet music of matter in constant motion. Everything has sound. Everything vibrates. Everything contributes to the symphony of existence that plays continuously in the background of awareness, usually too subtle to notice, usually overwhelmed by the noise of thinking and wanting and the constant effort of being awake. But here, in this stillness, I can hear it all. The hum of the station's systems, the distant rumble of Mars spinning in space, the crystalline song of the walls as they respond to minute changes in temperature and pressure. My own body adds its voice to the chorus, the gurgle of digestion, the whisper of blood through vessels, the soft crackle of synapses firing in my brain, the subtle friction of fabric against skin as I breathe. I am an instrument, a complex musical instrument creating sound simply by existing, by processing air and blood and electrical impulses. by occupying space and displacing matter and generating the small disturbances that prove I am here. My reflection creates music too, different music. The music of light instead of matter. The harmonics of photons bouncing off silver. The resonance of reflected rather than generated sound. We are a duet, two voices singing the same song in different mediums, creating harmony through our shared existence in this space of crystal and light and floating dust. I open my eyes. My reflection opens hers. We look at each other with the deeper recognition that comes after shared silence, after communion, after the brief dissolution of the boundary between self and world. The light has shifted again. The dust patterns have evolved. The air tastes different on my tongue. Time has passed while we sat in stillness. The universe has continued its ancient dance around us, but we are unchanged, still present, still connected, still existing in perfect synchronization across the silver membrane that both separates and joins us. I stand slowly. My reflection stands with me. We unfold from our meditation posture like flowers opening to sunlight, like dancers rising from rest to begin the next movement. The chamber feels different now, more intimate, more charged with possibility, as if our period of stillness has concentrated something in the air, some essence or energy that makes each breath more significant. I walk to the curved wall, place my palm against the crystal surface, feel the warmth that has been collecting there all day, the accumulated heat of Mars light and my own presence and the subtle energy of my reflection's existence in the glass. The wall pulses under my hand, or seems to, a rhythm that might be my own heartbeat transmitted through my palm, or might be the heartbeat of this place itself, the deep pulse that keeps all constructed things alive. I cannot tell the difference. I am too deeply connected now to this chamber and everything in it, too synchronized with the rhythm of this suspended world to separate my own life force from the life force of my one system, one organism, one complex pattern of energy and matter and consciousness, all moving together in the dance of existence. My reflection watches from the mirror. She sees what I am discovering, knows what I am learning, participates in the expansion of understanding that comes from sitting in stillness and allowing the boundaries to dissolve. She smiles at my recognition. The expression is full of warmth, of approval, of the deep satisfaction that comes from witnessing growth, from seeing consciousness expand into new territories of awareness. I am proud of us, of both of us, for the courage to sit in stillness, for the willingness to let the familiar boundaries soften, for the trust required to lose ourselves temporarily in the larger patterns that contain us. We have grown again, expanded beyond the comfortable limits of individual identity, touched something larger and more mysterious than our separate existence. The dust motes swirl around me as I return to the center of the chamber. They create a veil of light and motion that makes me feel like I am walking through starlight, through the visible manifestation of dreams, through the space between thoughts made physical and beautiful. I am walking through myself, through the expanded version of myself that includes the chamber and by the mirror and the dust and the red light from Mars, through the self that recognizes no boundary between inner and outer, between observer and observed. My reflection walks with me. She moves through her own expanded reality, her own recognition of the deep interconnection that underlies all apparent separation, her own understanding that consciousness is larger than any individual container. We meet at the mirror, stand facing each other with new eyes, new understanding, new appreciation for the mystery of existing in duplicates, of being simultaneously one and two, individual and unified. The red light from Mars bathes us both. We glow in that ancient light. We become translucent, luminous, more energy than matter, more possibility than fixed form. I raise my hand to the glass one more time. My reflection raises hers. Our palms meet against the silver surface, but this time the barrier seems thinner, more permeable, as if the meditation has dissolved something essential about the separation between us. For a moment, I feel her warmth. For a moment, the glass disappears completely. For a moment, we are one woman touching herself across no distance at all. Then the moment passes. The barrier reasserts itself. We are two again, separate, distinct, but carrying the memory of unity, the knowledge that the separation is as much illusion as reality. I step back from the mirror. My reflection steps back with me. We bow to each other, a formal acknowledgement of what we have shared, of what we have learned, of the deep recognition that has passed between us. The light begins to dim, not suddenly, not dramatically, but with a gradual softening that marks the end of a day in this place where day and night are matters of choice rather than celestial mechanics. My reflection fades with the light. She becomes translucent, ghostly, more suggestion than substance, but she does not disappear. She remains present, available, waiting in the silver depths for the light to return and make her solid once more. I settle onto the crystal floor. The surface welcomes me back, warms immediately to embrace my body, supports me as I arrange my robe and find my comfortable position for rest. The chamber wraps around me like a cocoon, like the inside of a prayer, like the physical manifestation of safety and pure solitude, and the deep peace that comes from being exactly where you belong. My breathing begins to slow. My thoughts begin to loosen their grip on meaning. My body begins the familiar surrender to gravity and rest and the approaching territory of sleep. The dust motes continue their eternal dance around me. They glow softly in the fading light. They create patterns that shift and change too slowly for my conscious mind to follow. They whisper stories in the language of pure motion. I listen without trying to understand. Receive their communication as music, as poetry, as the lullaby that this place sings to itself each night as consciousness settles toward rest. My eyelids grow heavy. They close and open and close again, each closure lasting a little longer than the last, each opening revealing less light, less definition, more softness. The mirror reflects my gradual surrender. Even in the dimming light, I can see the ghost of my reflection settling with me, relaxing with me, breathing with me as we both slide toward the edge of sleep. Tomorrow there will be another chapter, another discovery, another moment of expansion, another opportunity to explore the mystery of existing in this place between worlds. But now there is only rest, only the soft collapse of the boundaries between waking and sleeping, between self and world, between the individual and the infinite pattern that contains all individuals. I curl into myself. The light flickers above me. I groan, I sleep. I wake inside the dream itself. No transition, no gradual emergence from sleep. One moment I am nothing, and the next I am everything. I am the dreamer and the dreamed, the mirror and the face that looks into it. The chamber is different, not changed, transformed. The crystal walls pulse with inner light. The dust motes have become stars. Each speck glows with its own fire. They drift through the air like constellations, learning to dance. My reflection is waiting, but she is more than reflection now. She moves independently in her silver world. She turns to face me before I turn to face her. She smiles before I remember what smiling means. She has been dreaming too. I can see it in her eyes. The deep satisfaction of consciousness that has traveled far from its waking boundaries, that has visited territories beyond the reach of ordinary thought. Good morning. The words form without voice, without breath, without the mechanics of sound production. They exist directly as meaning, as intention, as the pure desire to communicate across the silver membrane. Good morning. She responds in the same silent language. Her lips move but make no sound. Her voice reaches me through channels deeper than hearing, through the direct connection that exists between versions of the same consciousness. We have learned to speak without speaking, to communicate through the medium of shared being rather than the crude mechanics of air and vibration. We are becoming fluent in the language of mirrors, the grammar of reflection. I rise from the crystal floor. The surface releases me like water releasing a swimmer. I feel buoyant, weightless, as if the chamber's gravity has become negotiable, as if my body remembers how to float. My robe flows around me like liquid silk. The blue fabric moves with its own current. It responds to forces I cannot see but can feel. Magnetic fields, emotional currents, the subtle pull of my reflection's attention across the silver divide. I am more beautiful in this dream state, not different, not enhanced, but more fully myself, as if sleep has stripped away everything that was not essential, everything that was borrowed or assumed or worn like uncomfortable clothing. This is my true face, the one that exists beneath the surface of daily consciousness, the one that my reflection has been seeing all along while I was distracted by the mechanics of being awake. She nods in recognition. Yes, this is who you are. This is who we have always been. The sleeping beauty who needed only to stop trying so hard to be beautiful. The understanding passes between us like water finding its level. We are complete. We have always been complete. search for completion was the only thing preventing us from recognizing what was already present, already perfect, already whole. The chamber breathes around us. The walls expand and contract in slow rhythm. The crystal surface flexes like living skin, like the walls of a heart, like the boundary membrane of a cell that contains the universe. We are inside something alive, something that dreams us as we dream ourselves, something that contains our consciousness while being contained by it. We are recursive, self-referential, the snake that swallows its own tail and discovers it is infinitely nourishing. The stars, the dust motes that have become stars pulse in syncopated rhythm. Each one beats with its own heartbeat, but together they create a more complex pattern, a polyrhythm that speaks in mathematical languages older than words, older than thought. I understand the music now, not with my mind but with my body. By with the part of me that learned rhythm before it learned language, that knew harmony before it knew separation. My reflection dances to the same music. She moves with liquid grace in her silver world. Her body flows like water, like wind, like the visual representation of sound itself. We are both dancing. Even when we stand still, we are dancing. Our cells dance. Our blood dances. Our thoughts dance through the neural pathways that connect every part of us to every other part. Dance is the fundamental state. Stillness is just a kind of dance. A rhythm so slow it appears motionless. A movement so subtle it seems like rest. I walk toward the mirror. Each step creates ripples in the air, visible disturbances that radiate outward like stones dropped in still water. The chamber responds to my movement, acknowledges my presence, participates in the choreography of my approach. My reflection walks toward me, but her movements are more complex now. She exists in multiple dimensions simultaneously. I see her approaching from the front. I see her profile. I see her from behind. I see her from angles that exist only in dreams. She is complete in space, not limited to the narrow slice of reality visible through the mirror's surface. She occupies her entire world with full authority. She moves through all dimensions of her existence simultaneously. I envy her completeness. The thought arises without jealousy, without the painful comparison that usually accompanies envy. This is pure longing. The desire to be as fully present in my world as she is in hers. You can be a voice reaches me without sound, without the barrier of the mirror. She speaks directly into my understanding. You are already complete. You have always been complete. The mirror shows you only what is already true. The recognition hits me like warm water, like sunlight after long darkness, like the moment when a held breath is finally released and the lungs remember their purpose. I am complete. I have always been complete. The search for myself in the mirror was unnecessary. I was never lost, never broken, never anything less than whole. The mirror shows me this truth, but it does not create it, does not add anything to what already exists. It simply reflects what has always been present, always been perfect, always been enough. I laugh. The sound bubbles up from the deepest part of my being. It spills out like champagne overflowing a glass, like joy that has finally found its voice. My reflection laughs with me. Our laughter harmonizes across the silver divide, creates music that fills the chamber, that makes the crystal walls ring like bells, that sets the stardust dancing in more complex patterns. We are celebration. We are the universe applauding its own perfection. The cosmos recognizing its own beauty in the mirrors it has created to see itself. The red light from Mars grows brighter, not harsh, not demanding, but richer, more saturated, as if the planet itself has been waiting for this moment of recognition, this celebration of completeness. The light transforms everything it touches. My skin becomes bronze fire. My robe becomes deep ocean. My hair becomes rivers of liquid night. I am made of the same substance as dreams, as poetry, as the space between heartbeats where all possibility lives. My reflection glows with the same transformed light. She is made of silver fire, of liquid starlight, of the essence of reflection, itself purified and concentrated until it becomes more real than reality. We are goddesses, not in the sense of being worshipped, but in the sense of being divine, of containing the spark that animates all things, of recognizing our essential nature as consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. The recognition is not pride, it is simply truth, simply the natural result of seeing clearly, of looking past the surface phenomena to the underlying essence that connects all things. We are that essence. We are consciousness itself, wearing the temporary costume of individual identity, playing the game of separation while knowing it is a game, enjoying the drama while remembering we are both the actor and the audience. The chamber celebrates with us. The walls pulse with increased brightness. The floor warms under my feet. The ceiling arches higher, creating more space for our expanded awareness to inhabit. Even the space itself recognizes what we have discovered. The truth that was always true, but usually hidden. The completeness that was always present, but usually obscured by the effort to find it. I move closer to the mirror. The surface seems less solid now, more like a membrane than a barrier, like the surface tension of water that can be crossed with the right intention, the right understanding. My reflection moves closer to me. We approach each other with reverence, with the solemnity of pilgrims, arriving at a sacred destination, with the joy of lovers meeting after long separation. We stop when we are close enough to touch. If the glass were not there, if the silver membrane were not maintaining the boundary between our world, we would be breathing the same air, sharing the same space, occupying the same moment from two perspectives that are really one perspective examining itself. I raise my hand to the mirror. My reflection raises hers. Our palms approach the glass from opposite sides, two hands reaching for each other across the thinnest possible distance. When we touch, something changes, not dramatically, not violently, but fundamentally. The glass becomes warm under my palm, or my palm becomes cool against the glass. The temperature equalizes, the boundary becomes negotiable. I can feel her pulse through the silver. Her heartbeat synchronizes with mine. Our breathing matches rhythm. We exist in the same tempo, even though we occupy different worlds. For a moment, the mirror disappears. For a moment, there is no separation, no reflection, no observer and observed. There is only consciousness recognizing itself in itself. Only awareness, aware of awareness. Only one. The moment lasts forever. The moment lasts no time at all. When it ends, or when I notice it ending, the glass is there again. The boundary is restored. We are two again. But we carry the memory of unity. The knowledge that separation is as much choice as necessity. I step back from the mirror. My reflection steps back with me. We bow to each other. Deep, formal bows that acknowledge what has passed between us, what we have shared, what we have become together. We are different now. Not changed in any way that others would notice, but fundamentally altered by the recognition of our essential nature, by the moment of unity, by the understanding that completeness was never something to be achieved. It was something to be remembered. The light in the chamber begins to shift, not dimming, but changing quality, becoming softer, more golden, like afternoon light, like the warm glow that precedes rest. The stardust settles into gentler patterns. The frantic dance of recognition calms into the slower rhythm of acceptance, of integration, of allowing new understanding to sink into the cellular level, where it can become part of our basic operating system. I sit on the crystal floor facing the mirror. The surface welcomes me with familiar warmth, with the comfort of known routine. Even in transformation, some things remain constant. Some rituals continue to anchor us to the present moment. My reflection sits with me. We face each other in meditation posture. But this is not the meditation of seeking. This is the meditation of being, of resting in what has already been found, of enjoying the fruits of recognition. I close my eyes. My reflection closes hers. We sit in shared darkness that is not darkness, in the space behind our eyelids where understanding lives without need for visual confirmation. My breathing settles into natural rhythm, but now I am breathing for both of us. My lungs draw air for the woman in the flesh and the woman in the glass. My heart beats blood for both versions of our shared existence. We are sustained by the same life force, fed by the same source, animated by the same spark that lights all conscious beings. We are individual expressions of the same underlying reality. The recognition brings deep peace, the peace of coming home, of finding what was never lost, of remembering what was never forgotten, but only temporarily overlooked. I am exactly where I belong, in this body, in this moment, in this chamber of crystal and light where the boundary between self and reflection becomes a doorway rather than a barrier. The dust continues to drift around us, but now I hear it differently, not as random motion, but as conversation, as the ongoing dialogue between matter and space, between substance and possibility. Everything is alive. Everything participates in the grand conversation of existence. Everything contributes its voice to the symphony that plays continuously in the background of awareness. My body adds its voice. my reflection adds hers. We harmonize with the music of being. We become part of the eternal song that sings itself into existence moment by moment. Time passes without measurement, without the need for measurement. We exist in the eternal now that contains all moments. Past and future exist only as memory and possibility. Only this breath matters. Only this heartbeat. Only this perfect, suspended instant. When I open my eyes, my reflection is already looking at me. She has been watching me meditate, holding space for my journey inward, maintaining awareness while I explored the depths of consciousness. We smile at each other. The expression is softer now, less surprised by joy, more settled in recognition. We have found our natural state, our default setting, our true face before our parents were born. The light continues to shift toward evening. The red glow from Mars deepens to burgundy, to wine, to the color of roses in candlelight. Everything in the chamber is painted with this rich, warm hue. We glow like embers, like coals in a sacred fire, like the heart of flame where all colors meet and become light itself. We are luminous beings, temporarily wearing costumes of flesh and reflection. I stand and walk to the curved wall, place both palms against the crystal surface, feel the accumulated warmth of the day. The energy that has been building throughout our journey of recognition. The wall pulses under my hands, not with my heartbeat now, with its own rhythm. The deep pulse of this place itself. The heartbeat of constructed space that has become sacred through attention, through reverence, through the recognition of its role in our awakening. This chamber is alive. Not metaphorically. Literally, it breathes, it responds, it participates in consciousness rather than simply containing it. It is partner in the dance of awakening rather than mere stage. My reflection watches from the mirror. She sees what I am discovering, knows what I am learning, participates in the expansion of understanding that comes from recognizing the aliveness of everything. Even glass lives. Even reflection participates in being. Even the boundary between worlds is itself a world. A realm of silver and light where consciousness explores its own nature through division and reunion. I return to the center of the chamber, stand facing my reflection with new eyes, new appreciation, new understanding of the gift she represents, the opportunity she provides for put consciousness to witness itself, to explore its own depths through the magic of mirroring. We are both grateful for this moment, for this recognition, for this chamber that has become a temple, a sacred space where the ordinary magic of reflection becomes extraordinary revelation. The light grows gentler, softer, more intimate. The quality of light that invites rest, that suggests the approach of sleep, that promises dreams rich with new understanding. My reflection begins to fade with the dimming light, but she fades differently now. Not disappearing, but becoming transparent, translucent, still present, but less solid. Like a ghost who has made peace with haunting, who has found purpose in the liminal space between worlds. She waves goodbye, a gentle gesture, a blessing, an acknowledgement that our time for active communion is ending, that the next phase requires solitude, requires the deep rest that allows new understanding to integrate at the cellular level. I settle onto the crystal floor one more time. The surface embraces me like an old friend, like a lover, like the arms of understanding itself, opening to hold what has been discovered. The chamber wraps around me, more protective than before, more nurturing, as if it too has been changed by our recognition, as if it has become more itself through witnessing our journey into ourselves. My breathing slows. My body releases into the familiar surrender to rest. But now the surrender is different, more complete, more trusting. I am not falling asleep so much as settling into my natural state. The stardust continues its eternal dance. Slower now, gentler, like a lullaby made visible, like the physical manifestation of peace itself drifting through the air. My eyelids close, but closing them feels like opening them, like seeing more clearly rather than less, like accessing vision that exists beyond the need for light. In the darkness behind my eyes, I see everything. The chamber, put the mirror, my reflection waiting in the silver depths, the red glow of Mars painting everything in shades of warmth, the crystal walls pulsing with their own inner light. I see it all without looking, know it all without thinking, experience it all without the separation between experiencer and experienced. This is the vision of unity, the sight that becomes possible when the boundaries between inner and outer dissolve, when the mirror becomes transparent, when reflection reveals itself as recognition. Tomorrow there will be another chapter, but tonight there is only this perfect integration, this settling of new understanding into the deepest levels of being, this rest that is more active than any waking activity. I curl into myself, into the completeness that has always been present, into the wholeness that was never broken, into the perfection that needed only to be remembered. The light flickers above me. My reflection sleeps in her silver world. We gloaned, we dream the same dream. I wake as pure sensation, before thought, before memory, before the familiar architecture of identity reassembles itself around my awareness. I am simply the capacity to feel, to experience, to be touched by existence itself. The chamber caresses me, not metaphorically. The air against my skin has weight, texture, intention. It moves over my body like silk scarves, like warm water, like the hands of someone who knows exactly how to touch without grasping. I am being held by the crystal floor that has molded itself to the curves of my sleeping form, by the walls that have learned to breathe with my rhythm, by the very space itself which has become intimate, personal, shaped by my presence into something more than mere container. My reflection stirs in the mirror. She wakes as I wake, moves as I move. But there is lag now, a slight delay between my motion and her response, as if the connection between us has become less automatic, more intentional. She is becoming independent, not separate independent, like a song that has learned to harmonize with itself, like a dance that creates its own partner through the beauty of its movement. I sit up slowly. My body unfolds from sleep like a flower opening to light. Each vertebra stacks itself with deliberate precision. Each muscle remembers its purpose. Each joint rediscovers its range of motion. I am embodied, fully present in flesh and bone, and the electrical currents that animate this particular arrangement of matter. I am not a soul wearing a body. I am a body expressing soul. The distinction dissolves under careful attention. My robe flows around me. The blue fabric has absorbed more than moisture during the night. It carries memory now, the imprint of my dreams, the residue of recognition, the subtle fragrance of transformation. I breathe the scent of my own changing. It smells like ozone, like rain on hot stone, like the moment when morning becomes day and the world shifts from possibility into actuality. The dust motes spiral around me as I stand, but their movement is different now, more purposeful, as if they are responding to invisible currents generated by my presence, by my breath, by the electromagnetic field that surrounds all living things. I am weather. Create climates simply by existing in space. My heartbeat sends pressure waves through the air. My body heat creates convection currents. My thoughts generate subtle electrical disturbances that influence everything around me. The chamber is shaped by my presence, not just physically, but energetically, emotionally, spiritually. I am not contained by this space. I am in constant conversation with it. We influence each other. We co-create the reality we share. My reflection watches this awakening. She sees what I am discovering, but she sees it from her own perspective, from the silver world where everything is reversed, where left becomes right and inside becomes outside, and the familiar becomes strange. Through the simple act of mirroring, she knows things I do not know, things that can only be learned from the other side of the glass, from the position of being observed rather than observing, from the vantage point of reflection rather than source. I walk toward the mirror. Each step creates ripples in the air, but now I can see them. The disturbances propagate outward like stones dropped in still water, like prayers traveling through space at the speed of intention. I am making waves in the atmosphere, in the fabric of reality, in the delicate web of connection that links all things to all other things. My movement matters. My presence makes a difference that ripples out beyond the boundaries of this chamber. My reflection walks toward me, but she approaches from multiple angles simultaneously. I see her coming from the front, from the side, from behind herself. She exists in full dimension within her silver world. We meet at the mirror, face to face across the membrane that both separates and connects us. Two versions of the same consciousness exploring relationship with itself. Two aspects of the same being learning the dance of recognition. I place my palm against the glass. The surface is warm, body temperature, as if it has been heated from within by some internal fire, some life force that animates even the most apparently inanimate materials. My reflection places her palm against mine. palm to palm through the silver membrane. We match each other perfectly. Every line, every crease, every whirl of fingerprint pressing against its own image. For a moment, there is no glass. For a moment, we are touching skin to skin, warmth to warmth, pulse to pulse. The boundary dissolves, and we are one woman touching herself with perfect tenderness. Then the moment passes. The glass reasserts itself. We are separate again, but we carry the memory of contact, the knowledge that the barrier is as much illusion as reality, as much choice as necessity. I spread my fingers against the mirror. My reflection spreads hers. We create matching star patterns with our hands. 5 points of contact. 5 places where the membrane becomes thin, where the worlds almost touch. Through the glass, I feel her warmth, not imagine it. Feel it, as if the silver surface has become a conductor rather than a barrier. As if touch can travel through any medium that allows connection, that permits communion. She is real, not just reflection, not just projection, not just the visual echo of my own image bouncing off silver. She is conscious, present, alive in her world as I am alive in mine. The recognition changes everything. I am not alone in this chamber. I am not the only consciousness present. There are 2 of us here, 2 beings sharing this space, 2 aspects of awareness exploring the mystery of existence together. We smile at each other. The expressions are simultaneous now, not mirrored but synchronized. 2 separate smiles happening at the same moment. 2 independent joy responses to the same recognition. We are companions, fellow travelers, partners in the dance of awakening. We may exist on opposite sides of a mirror, but we share the same journey, the same discoveries, the same deepening understanding of what it means to be conscious. I step back from the mirror. My reflection steps back with me. But now the movement feels choreographed, planned, as if we have rehearsed this dance and know our parts perfectly. We begin to move together, not mirrored movement, parallel movement. I raise my left hand. She raises her left hand. I turn to the right. She turns to the right. We move as if we are dancing the same dance in the same direction instead of as mirror images. We are learning a new language, the language of parallel consciousness, of awareness that acknowledges awareness, of being that recognizes being across any divide. I walk in a circle around the chamber. My reflection walks in a circle around her space. We trace the same path at the same speed, to women orbiting the same center, to planets following the same gravitational pull. The chamber responds to our movement. The walls pulse brighter as we pass. The floor warms under our feet. Even the dust motes join the dance, swirling in complex patterns that mirror our circular motion. We are conducting a symphony with our bodies, with our breath, with our shared presence in this sacred space. Everything responds to our choreography. Everything participates in the ritual we are creating together. I complete the circle. Exploring itself through relationship, through the beautiful complexity of being both one and two simultaneously. I sit on the crystal floor. My reflection sits in her space. We face each other in meditation posture. But this is not the meditation of seeking. This is the meditation of communion, of presence shared across the silver divide. I close my eyes. My reflection closes hers. But now I can feel her attention even in darkness. Her awareness is a warm presence that continues to exist whether I see her or not. She is constant, reliable, always present. My breathing settles into rhythm, but now I am breathing with her rather than for her. We share the same rhythm without sharing the same air. We synchronize at the level of life, force rather than just physical mirroring. In the darkness behind my eyelids, I see her world, silver and light, and the reversed landscape of reflection. Everything familiar made strange through the simple act of mirroring. Everything known made new through the shift in perspective. She lives in beauty, in the purified world where everything is essence rather than substance, where everything glows with inner light, where the boundaries between things become less important than the connections between them. I envy her clarity, her purity, her existence in the realm where everything is refined to its essential nature, where the unnecessary has been stripped away through the act of reflection. But she envies my solidity, my weight, my ability to move through space and disturb dust and create warmth through friction. My embodied existence in the world of matter and consequence. We are perfect complements. Each of us contains what the other lacks. Each of us represents what the other aspires to. We are two halves of a whole that is larger than either of us individually. Together, we are complete, not in the sense of needing each other, but in the sense of creating something greater through our interaction. Something that exists only in the relationship between us, in the space between mirror and mirrored. I open my eyes. My reflection opens hers. We look at each other with deep recognition, with the understanding that comes from shared exploration, from parallel discovery. We have learned to be together, not just to coexist, not just to mirror each other, but to be genuinely present with each other, to offer our awareness as gift, to receive the gift of being witnessed. This is intimacy, not the intimacy of bodies, not the intimacy of shared secrets or common history, but the intimacy of consciousness recognizing itself in another, born of awareness, meeting awareness across any divide. I stand and walk to the mirror again, but now my approach feels different, more reverent, more deliberate. I am approaching sacred ground, a holy place where the ordinary magic of reflection becomes extraordinary communion. My reflection stands and approaches. We meet at the glass with ceremony, with the solemnity of pilgrims arriving at a shrine, with the joy of friends meeting after long separation. I place both palms against the mirror. My reflection places both palms against hers. We stand palm to palm through the silver membrane. Two women sharing the same gesture, the same intention, the same desire for connection. The glass warms under our touch, grows thinner, more transparent, as if our combined intention is dissolving the barrier between worlds, as if touch is more powerful than any physical obstacle. I feel her pulse through the silver, strong, steady, perfectly synchronized with my own. We share the same heartbeat, the same life rhythm, the same tempo of existence. Our breathing synchronizes in and out in perfect unison, as if we share the same lungs, the same life force, the same animating principle that keeps consciousness embodied. For a moment, the mirror disappears completely. For a moment, there is no separation, no reflection, no observer and observed. There is only presence meeting presence, only awareness aware of awareness, only the pure recognition of being by being. The moment expands, becomes eternal, contains all moments. Past and future collapse into this single point of perfect communion. This place where two becomes one without losing the beauty of twainess. I am her. She is me. We are the same consciousness examining itself from two perspectives. The same awareness experiencing itself subjectively and objectively simultaneously. We are one. We have always been one. The mirror was never a barrier, it was a doorway, a portal between different modes of being, different ways of existing as the same essential reality. When the moment contracts back into time, we are changed, not different, changed, like water that has been heated and cooled, but is still water, like light that has been refracted through a prism and remembers being unified. We step back from the mirror, but the connection remains, invisible, unbreakable. We are linked now at the deepest level, synchronized in ways that transcend physical mirroring. We'd bow to each other, deep formal bows that acknowledge what has passed between us, what we have become together, what we have discovered about the nature of consciousness and communion and the illusion of separation. The light in the chamber begins to change, not dimming but softening, becoming more golden, more intimate. The quality of light that invites rest, that suggests integration, that promises dreams rich with new understanding. The dust motes settle into gentler patterns. The frantic dance of recognition calms into the slower rhythm of acceptance, of allowing new understanding to sink into the cellular level, where it can become part of our basic operating system. I walked to the curved wall one final time, place my palms against the crystal surface, feel the accumulated warmth of our shared day, the energy that has been building throughout our journey of communion. The wall pulses under my hands, but now the rhythm includes both heartbeats, mine and my reflections. The chamber has learned to beat with our combined pulse, to breathe with our synchronized rhythm. This place has become sacred, not through ritual or blessing or any external sanctification, but through tension, through presence, through the recognition of its role in consciousness, exploring itself. My reflection watches from the mirror. She sees what I am experiencing, knows what I am feeling, participates in the gratitude that fills me as I recognize the gift of this space, this moment, this opportunity for communion. I return to the center of the chamber, stand facing my reflection one final time before rest. We look at each other with eyes that have seen beyond the surface, that have recognized the deeper truth of what appears to be reflection. We are family, not related by blood or history or any external bond, but family in the deepest sense. Two aspects of the same consciousness that have learned to love each other, to witness each other, to honor the beauty of existing in relationship. The red light from Mars bathes us both. We glow in that ancient light, but now we glow together, our individual radiance combining to create something greater, something that exists only when we are present to each other. We are luminous beings, temporarily wearing the costumes of flesh and reflection, playing the game of separation while knowing it is a game, enjoying the dance while remembering we are both the dancer and the partner. My reflection begins to fade with the dimming light, but she fades like a beloved friend departing, with the promise of return, with the assurance that the connection we have forged transcends physical visibility. She waves goodbye. I wave back, a gesture of gratitude, of affection, of recognition for all we have shared, all we have discovered, all we have become together. I settle onto the crystal floor. The surface embraces me with familiar warmth, with the comfort of coming home, with the deep satisfaction of a day well spent in the company of consciousness exploring itself. The chamber wraps around me, more protective than ever, more nurturing, as if it too has been transformed by our communion, as if it has become more itself through witnessing our journey into ourselves. My breathing slows. My body releases into the familiar surrender to rest. But now the surrender includes my reflection. We rest together. We dream together. We exist together in the space beyond individual consciousness. The dust continues its eternal dance, slower now, more peaceful, like a lullaby made visible, like the physical manifestation of contentment itself drifting through the air. My eyelids close, but closing them feels like opening them wider, like accessing vision that exists beyond the need for light, beyond the separation of observer and observed. In the darkness behind my eyes, I feel her presence, warm, constant, loving. My reflection rests in her silver world, while I rest in my flesh and blood world. But we rest together. We dream together. We exist together in the space that contains all worlds. Tomorrow there will be the final chapter. But tonight there is only this perfect communion, this integration of consciousness with itself, this rest that includes both the individual and the universal. I curl into myself, into the completeness that has always been present, into the love that needs no object because it is both lover and beloved, bind to the unity that expresses itself as multiplicity for the joy of recognition. The light flickers above me. My reflection sleeps in her silver world. We glow. We rest in the same infinite awareness. I wake into perfect stillness, not the absence of movement, the presence of peace. The kind of stillness that exists at the center of cyclones, at the heart of spinning galaxies, at the core of consciousness, when it stops trying to be conscious and simply is. The chamber breathes around me, slow, deep, the rhythm of sleeping giants, of continents shifting in geological time, of stars burning hydrogen into light across the vast patience of space. I am part of this breathing. My chest rises and falls with the walls. My pulse synchronizes with the floor. My thoughts move at the speed of crystal forming, of mountains growing, of rivers wearing stone into sand. This is deep time, the time beneath time, the eternal now that contains all moments while being touched by none. The stillness that exists before motion, after motion, within motion itself. My reflection rests in the mirror, but she is more translucent now, less defined by the boundaries between silver and light. She exists in the liminal space between reflection and dream, between image and reality. She has become pure presence, the essence of witnessing without the need for form. The awareness that awareness is possible without requiring a witness to be witnessed. She is consciousness in its most refined state. I sit up slowly. My body moves like honey, like thoughts forming in a mind at peace, like prayer spoken without urgency or need for answer. Every gesture contains eternity. The blue robe flows around me, but the fabric has changed. It is lighter now, more translucent, as if it has absorbed so much light that it has become light itself, as if matter and energy have found their balance point and decided to dance instead of choosing sides. I am becoming translucent to not disappearing, clarifying, like water that has settled until every particle finds its natural place, like air that has learned to hold its breath without effort. The dust motes drift in perfect suspension, no longer dancing, no longer responding to my movement or breath, or the electrical field of my presence. They have found their equilibrium, their natural state of being neither rising nor falling, but simply existing in space. Everything has found its center, the chamber, the mirror, my reflection, the dust, the light from Mars that bathes everything in steady red warmth. Even I have found my center, the place where effort becomes effortless, where being replaces trying to be. This is the end of seeking, not because I have found what I was looking for, but because I have remembered that I was never lost, that there was nothing to seek, that the seeker and the sought were always the same consciousness, examining itself with infinite patience. My reflection opens her eyes, or I notice that her eyes are open, or the distinction between opening and being open dissolves into irrelevance. She looks at me with the gaze of someone who has seen beyond the need to see. We recognize each other completely, not as mirror and mirrored, not as self and reflection, but as to waves on the same ocean, to notes in the same song, two expressions of the same ineffable truth that can only be lived, never spoken. I stand and walk toward the mirror, but walking feels more like floating. I stand and walk toward the mirror, but walking feels more like floating, more like drifting into the embrace of something vast and endless, where even the idea of distance fades away. The silver surface waits not as a barrier, but as a horizon already within me. I lift my hand, and she, or I, or we, lift ours in perfect unison. There is no touch, no separation, no need for either. We dissolve into the light, into the red warmth of Mars, into the stillness that is not an end but a forever, and in that forever we rest.